let's get into midseason awards.
That's an interesting question. Who is your halfway point MVP?
Mine's Lamar.
Obviously, most people, the first thing you look at is record. So who's contending? Who's there? Brady's obviously there. So is Lamar. Some people want to suck Kyler Murray's dick. Even though I think Colt McCoy might have hurt his case by going out there and doing what they did. Either that or Mike Shanahan and John Lynch, like I said, they need to be prepared for that very hot seat next year because that's where they're going to be headed with
John,
it.
John Lynch needs to go ahead and call the execs at Fox and say, hey, about that job I used to have.
Right. Well, and then let's take it a step further. They wouldn't give it to him again just because of now what's came out. The NFL, I know they didn't like what he did. The NFL did not like what Aaron Rodgers did. And so Aaron Rodgers, hell, he just, before the COVID thing, he had just came off beating the last undefeated team on the road with nobody. Why can't he be MVP again?
Because he's an anti-vaxxer. Or excuse me, he is not an anti-vaxxer. He is just he's not
which I didn't understand why people were grouping him and Kyrie because I was like, if anything, he kind of shaded Kyrie because he literally grouped the two together. He's like, I'm not an anti-vaxxer, flat earther, which we all know that Kyrie Irving is the flat earther. Like he definitely is a flat earther, and clearly he's anti-vax.
So I got a phone call about that, and it was yesterday. One of my good friends was like, "Hey man, you need to hit this on the pod about how Aaron Rodgers is getting a pass and Kyrie got killed." I'm like, I asked him, I was like, the people I'm listening to are giving Aaron the business. You know, like,
what are they giving him? Are they giving him the MVP business?
Absolutely not. Aaron's not getting the MVP. Oh, you know the one thing I forgot to hit on the Aaron conversation? How the hell CeeDee Lamb got charged, got fined $20,000 for a uniform violation, but Aaron got $14,000 for his.
That's ridiculous. I tell you what, we can give that a midseason award. Biggest bullshit call of all time by the league.
Yo, Goodell is the absolute worst when it comes to like levying reasonable punishment. He just sucks. Cal Hurt's been saying it for years. He's like, Goodell just needs to put together a board who handles this stuff so he can just wash his hands of it because he does everything else really, really well. It's just discipline. He just sucks at it.
Yeah, it's definitely not his forte, and shame on him. Shame on him. But what I will say, when it comes to the MVP talk, I had to go down and kind of look at some stats because, like I said, Lamar and Brady would be the first people to come to mind. But he really hurt his case on Sunday night. But man, Matt Stafford is having a phenomenal year too. He leads the league in passing, 68%. Completion percentage, 8.6 average per attempt, 23 touchdowns, 6 picks. They beat Brady, so they have the tiebreaker, so they're ahead of them in the standings. And then the other person that I was thinking that, to be totally honest, he could have broke the trend of an quarterback winning the award. If Derrick Henry didn't go down, I think that he was well on pace to win it too because of how well Tennessee looks. They have the best record in the AFC, but this 4-game stretch where they played basically the best that the NFL outside of Tampa has to offer, good shit. Good shit. Even though they got blown out by Arizona early in the year, the first game of the season.
First game of the year or whatever.
Good shit, Derrick Henry. I mean, he was on pace to do another 2,000-yard season.
Yeah, he was probably going to break Eric Dickerson from Sealy, Texas record.
Yeah, and so I think that it sucks that he did get hurt because he definitely was going to be in it. Like, if there was a year, it was this year. This year, repeating what he basically did last year, and they were winning more. And it's not like Julio's been a factor. I bet – do you think Julio – we'll get to the Falcons, but do you think Julio misses Atlanta?
He definitely misses QC and P.
I think he misses Matt Ryan.
I would too. Tannehill's not the same Tannehill without Arthur Smith.
Tannehill's not. He wasn't better than Matt Ryan anyways, and so I just feel like he misses him. But I tell you what, I'm gonna go out.
So, defensive player of the year. I have no idea.
Oh, Diggs. As of today, yeah, I would say that he's been the most impactful defensive player in the NFL.
He got torched last week, though.
Yeah, he did by a average quarterback and certainly an average receiving core. They didn't even have Noah Fant playing. Noah Fant didn't even play. But the running backs are who really did the work. Williams and they both killed it. They're the reason why they beat Dallas. And it sounds like a Dan Quinn defense to me. I mean, running backs catching passes. Like, yeah, that sounds about right, to be totally honest with you.
Let's see. Offensive player of the year. It would have been Derrick Henry.
Yeah, for sure. And it sucks. I mean, it sucks. At this point, whoever wins MVP is offensive player of the year.
Yeah, I just can't.
Lamar probably gets it from a statistical standpoint just because of what he does with his legs and his arm.
Does Zeke have a case to make his way up there?
No, because Tony Pollard is low key. Tony Pollard's the type of guy I want the Falcons to bring in next year.
Anybody but Mike
Davis. He won't be as expensive, and then it'll give me Michael Turner vibes a little bit.
You know who could make a push for it though? Jonathan Taylor. If the Colts can challenge for the AFC South, he's sitting at
make the playoffs. I think if they can make the playoffs, because think about it, they started 0-4, and they're one of the hottest teams in the NFL.
Because he's sitting at 821 rushing yards. Let's see. Let me see. Come on, IT. Get your head out your.
He'll probably end up leading the league in rushing.
Yes, he's probably going to get the rushing
second now, and we know that Derek is out. Well, him or Chubb, right? Joe Mixon's having a great year too, though.
He also has 293 receiving yards, almost as many as he had all of last year. So he'll get to around about 600 receiving yards. Looks like we're halfway. He'll have about 1,600 yards, 1,700 yards this year. If he goes 2,000 all-purpose yards, he's at 9 total touchdowns. He gets to 18, maybe even 20 touchdowns. They might throw it at him, especially if they're winning. And Joe Mixon, I don't know if Joe Mixon wins awards because of his history.
Well, he's a Pro Bowler this year so far. I mean, the Bengals are contending. They're in the playoff hunt. They're in the playoffs, I think.
Why is Lamar Jackson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th in the league in rushing?
Because he's Lamar Jackson, but which is why I said it might be him, really, just because of what he does. Because he'll end up with what are they? He's played 8 games. They've got 9 more to go. He'll end up getting to that 1,000. He's going to run for 400 more yards this year.
He's going to have 1,000 rushing yards and probably 4,000.
He probably will have a career high in passing yards. Yeah. So I would say him. That's why he was the first person I think. I think he would be, even if he doesn't win MVP somehow, he will win Offensive Player of the Year just because of production alone. Because Offensive Player of the Year is a statistic award.
Yeah.
And they typically do give it to the MVP, but that's not always the case either. Like, I mean, Matt Ryan, when he won MVP, he got both. Cam Newton did it. He got both. But Cam had a special year. And they, 15-1 Super Bowl. But
let's get to the rookie awards. We got
easy. We know the answer to both.
Who you got?
I don't even think it's close. Well, offensively, it's Jamar Chase. I mean, he kind of did get shut down last week, but gosh, boy, has he been special. He has looked like Justin Jefferson and like Odell Beckham all at the same time. Like,
what about Najee?
He's creeping in because now he got off to a slow start though. He's creeping in, and then I tell you what, dark horse. If the Falcons really get good, Kyle Pitts has been so good this year.
He's turning up.
He has. That's what I'm saying. Especially now with Calvin out, and you got to understand he's getting the attention because Russell Gage isn't getting it. It's Kyle Pitts. Now teams literally are like he kind of got shut out a little in Carolina. He had an okay game against the Saints. He dropped that touchdown to start the game. That was a touchdown, but he's played really well too. I really like what he's been doing. He had strung together 2 straight 100-yard games. He's probably the reason he wouldn't get it. He won't have the touchdowns to go with it. Unfortunately, if he had double-digit touchdowns and 1,000 yards, he'd be all up in it.
Hey, don't forget about Mac and Cheese though, because he's going to win the AFC East.
They're not winning the AFC East. They might make the playoffs. If they don't win this week, they're not making the playoffs.
Didn't somebody come on the spot? Didn't somebody come on this podcast and try to say that the Patriots would win the East this year?
Wasn't me. Might have been JP.
And no, it wasn't him either.
Well, then who was it? It wasn't me.
It was me.
I'm shocked. Yeah. I'm shocked he said that. I think I'm okay with them making the playoff. I think I might have said that they could make the playoffs. But I think that just what it is that team is going to be predicated on defense and running the ball. I mean, it's back to the basics. It's back to those first Patriots Super Bowls. You know, that's kind of what Belichick's formula was going to have to be going into this season. Mac doesn't have the stats. Like Jamar Chase is going to have over 1,300 yards and over 10 touchdowns. You know what I mean? So, like, to me, he's just a runaway. And then for defensively,
Brandon Cooks is number 4 in the league in receiving yards.
I mean, who else do they have to throw the ball to? If anything, I'm surprised that nobody tried to make a trade for him. Like he would have been great with Green Bay. Yeah, especially now that he didn't get Odell. Like, he would have been great for Green Bay. Like, that would have that's good stuff.
Is there any momentum for Cooper Kupp, Offensive Player of the Year?
He didn't have a very good game last game.
He's leading the league in receptions. He's leading the league in yards, and he's leading the league in touchdowns. 74 receptions, 1,019 yards, and 10 touchdowns.
He only gets Offensive Player of the Year if Matt Stafford wins MVP.
Fair. Like he's already had a good season.
Yeah, he could
get hurt and have had a good season.
Yeah,
but he's still not a number one.
Kind of the Derrick Henry effect there with him.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. Is there one? I don't know.
All right. So, I think it's a runaway. Micah Parsons.
Oh yeah.
The Cowboys, even though they, like I said, they got torched last week, and they're probably going to get torched this week, I hope. Michael Parsons, though, he's had the biggest. I'm looking at impact, and that's why I kind of went with Diggs. The Cowboys' defense, aside from last week, looked pretty fucking good. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. We can't blame them for the first game of the season giving up 31 on the road to the defending champs, especially if Brady is maybe the MVP himself. Like, so it's going to be hard. Outside of that, between that game and last week, the Cowboys defense, even though ranks middle of the pack, they've improved the team so much by how well they played. And specifically those two players' impact has made it to where, to me, I don't see how they both don't win the awards, barring, I don't know, Matt Ryan throws for like 506 TDs on them, and then like the Cowboys just start losing games. They'll still win that division. But barring some stuff like that, like a second half collapse from the defense, both of those guys, to me, I think as of today, have got to be it. And then you obviously your Aaron Donalds, you're always going to throw those guys in there, like the people that we know are the impact players and that do this. But Diggs is definitely a lock to me for defensive. I like Parsons for rookie defensive. I think Jamar is a lock for offensive rookie. Offensive player could go either way. And then MVP, if I had to choose one today, I would personally choose Lamar, because I think he's the most valuable to his team.
I'd personally choose Lamar, but I'd bet Brady.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Coach of the Year. I think it might be Cliff.
It has to be. It has to be. Unfortunately.
I don't think he should be able to put Coach of the Year on his mantelpiece, because he's just like – Bill Belichick is making one of his best claims for Coach of the Year of his career right now. What he's doing up there in New England, especially when he wins that division, but they'll give it to Cliff, because Cliff, it looks better when Cliff.
So I'm preparing for a pod, right?
Yeah. Now I think Cliff would definitely probably be the guy as of today. I'll give you a dark horse, depending on how much better it gets. And it's two of them. Mike Vrabel, because if Tennessee keeps winning without Derrick Henry, I mean, what more? If they get the number one seed without him, how much more could you do with the best? That's the best running back in the NFL, is by far your best player. You already didn't have a very good defense to begin with.
How crazy is it that Cliff Kingsbury already gets more love as a good NFL coach, which I don't think he is, over Mike Vrabel? Like people love the smoke and mirrors. Oh, Cliff this, Cliff that, or Brandon Staley. He's barely 500 now. Brandon Staley's doing this and that. Like, bro, Vrabel, similar to another AFC South coach who was just winning division after division, Bill O'Brien. He's just going down here and just winning fucking division after division after division.
And Vrabel came from that coaching tree, even though he's a Belichick guy.
But he didn't coach for Belichick.
And maybe he might have even been – was Vrabel with Kubiak even before Bill O'Brien? I don't know. But no. He couldn't have been with Kubiak because Kubiak went to Denver in like 14 or 15. And so Vrabel was definitely under – but you know what? Technically, he's not a branch, but he's a stem of the Belichick because O'Brien is a Belichick.
Right. He's like a stem. He never coached.
And certainly, Vrabel being a player for Belichick probably follows more of Belichick-esque coaching style as opposed to Bill O'Brien because Bill O'Brien is coaching offense in college right now. So while Mike Vrabel is winning division titles, so I'm gonna count Vrabel under the Belichick tree. So
Bill O'Brien's just waiting for a job. He just fucked up and tried to be a GM. If he just would have stayed coaching, he would have been.
He'll be back in college. He'll get a college head coaching gig. Hell, maybe he gets the USC gig. I don't know, but
maybe he goes back to Penn State when
Franklin goes to USC. You're right.
USC, you know what? Thanks for warming that seat for me. I'm back.
Right, and so he's a dark horse because right now Cliff Kingsbury has to be it because they have the best record and nobody expected that. And then secondly, I'll throw one out at you. What about Mike Tomlin? If the Steelers can win another game this week, they'll be 6-3. Ben clearly sucks. And they're winning games. I mean, look, that Monday night game, they should have lost, but they're winning games. They'll be 6 and nobody. I didn't expect them to do it. Like, I thought that they were a 500 team. They look like they will be a little above 500, but to me, I thought it was a 500 team.